Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about launch content and how you can think about your launch content in a couple different ways that you may not have thought about before. I think a lot of the time, launch content is so much of this, specifically posting these posts that are on, you know, promote your offer or tell all the details of the offer for 3 days, then it's got to be focused on pain points for X number of days. Then it has to be pleasure points for X number of days. Then we have to go into, you know, your story or whatever, but it's very systematic and it really doesn't have to be. I think a lot of the time, just in general with launching, all of these like rules and the things that we hear online and these like shoulds and the pressure and all of this is really what the part that gets so many people stressed out, because you hear all of this and then you don't know exactly what you actually should do, or you're trying to do this and it's not working. And the thing is, it's never going to work until you find out what works for you. So, my take on content is it doesn't matter if, you are following a plan like that. You still can. I'm not saying that that's wrong. It's not that it's wrong. None of these things are wrong because for some people they work. That and this is this is the whole thing with it. For some people, they work, and that's why some people teach this, because it does work for them. But it's looking at this from a different perspective because it does not work for everyone. And that's the way that I always look at it, because I know what works for me probably is not going to work for my clients. Like, I'm not going to tell my clients to be posting the amount of times that I am right now on the number of platforms and doing all of these things, especially if it's someone that is just trying to get consistent on Instagram. That doesn't make any sense, right? So it's really looking at first what actually is going to work for you instead of trying to fit into what someone else is telling you that you should be doing. So when we look at content, even if you are doing this whole plan of posting, these posts this day, introducing your offer for however many days and the pain points and pleasure points and da da da, that's only going to work if you know exactly how to speak to your ideal client. So that's like step number one. And truly, that is step number one for absolutely everyone. That is what it is. Because if you don't know how to do that, and if you're not connecting with the people that you want to work with, it's not going to work. Like, they aren't going to hear you. They're not going to feel connected to this. They're not going to feel pulled in to want to actually go any further, or, you know, look at your offer, look at your lead magnet, look at anything that you are promoting. So it is really getting down to how can you connect with people instead of putting yourself into a box of, I need to post these specific things these days. So really look at like what has actually worked for you to connect with people. It's not so much looking at, only this is going to work to launch. No, how are you going to connect with someone to actually get them closer to you so that they want to work with you? Because if you can't say that, And if you can't do that, you're not going to convert anybody. And really, really think about like, what do you truly want to say? Like, no holds barred, fucking unfiltered. What do you want to say? What do you want to say? Even if you have to pause this right now and go write it down, I'm not joking. Just like do it, write it. What do you actually want to say? That's what you need to start posting. And it doesn't matter how it comes out. It doesn't need to be perfect. This isn't about working towards this unattainable perfection. This is about you showing like yourself, you being you, so that people can see that and so that they are drawn in and want to work with you because you are actually speaking to them. It's not about, getting someone to perfect it for you or looking to someone else to pull out your words or make it better or anything like that. Like, honestly, you already know what you want to say. You already have this in you. You just have to say it. And sometimes it's the things that you are almost most afraid of saying. And the posts that you don't want to hit post on, those are the ones that are going to do the best. And yeah, sometimes it is really scary to post that shit, but those are the things that you need to post to actually make that connection and for people to actually hear that because people need to hear it. Like, just be real. You don't have to set these standards of perfection because the other thing is a lot of a lot of people aren't looking for that. When you are trying to make your content so curated and so perfect, it's almost, sometimes that works. And sometimes people see that and they're like, well, I definitely can't approach that person because I'm not there. I'm not at that level. But really, if you just posted like you are super approachable. You are like the person for them, right? So you just have to post what you want to say. Talk about your offer truly. How does it help people? How have you gotten yourself from point A to point B doing this? Because a lot of the time, that's why we create things, right? Is that we've gone through this ourselves. So, what's your story behind that? People love hearing that because it allows us to connect, right? We want to hear that. And we want to see ourselves in this process. We want to know that, yeah, I can actually see myself there. And it's not about so much seeing ourselves in the pain points of like where we are now and just drilling into that. And oh my God, like you're so stuck here. It's also painting the vision and the picture of this is where you can be. This is where you can get. Like I was here, but I got to point B, and you can do that too. I know that you can do that too. This is how I did it, and I can help you get there too. And this is why. And it's just telling them that, truly just telling people that. That is going to come off so much better than trying to fit into these like structured posts of like promote your offer in this way and do this that way and da da da. Say what you want to say. That's it. I mean, you probably I do it all the time. I just, you know, it's just what you want to say because that's what people are going to resonate with. So, in terms of really looking at your content, try basing it around more of that. And, how is it going to change their everyday life? Really getting down to the specifics of, you can go big picture, but also looking at like every day, what difference is that going to make for them? What difference is it going to make when they wake up? What difference is it going to make when they're going throughout their day? All of those little things, and think back to yourself, think back to your clients, and just really pull from those things. And then, excuse me, just talk about it very authentically. Like it does not have to be curated. Just talk about it. So that's the first thing. A few more tips really to consider in terms of content when you're thinking about launching, because I think a lot of people, during a launch, you're thinking about, well, I gotta promote my offer. I have to promote it everywhere. I gotta go big. Like this gotta be a huge thing. What I really want you to focus on is staying consistent. How often are you posting right now? You do not, during a launch, want to start, if you're posting 4 times a day right now, that's what you want to do during your launch. It is not time to just decide that you're going to start posting 2 times a day, every single day during your launch. That is how you are going to burn out. That is how you are going to fucking hate this launch. Like, I can guarantee that's going to happen. You're not going to like it. Stay consistent. The other thing with content, and I know we hear so much about how to play the algorithm and like do all of the things. If you focus on quality and, like I said, really talking to who you want to work with and like one person that you want to work with, it's still going to spread that message to a lot of people who are going to resonate with it, but one person, and you put in a lot of quality, that is going to matter so much more than posting a million times a day. That's not going to do anything. If you do 4 quality posts a week versus, 14 that are okay, or you just threw up there because you felt like you had to, because you feel like you have to post more during your launch, that's not going to do anything for you. Okay, really focus on the quality and being consistent so that you don't burn out and you have the energy to actually put into this. And then you can just go on your stories, talk about it, maybe plan to do a couple lives if you like doing that. And don't feel like you have to. This is the other thing. Like, none of this is anything that you have to do. None of it. This is all optional. This is all options. You get to choose and you get to do this in the way that it works best for you. So if you like doing lives, do some. Schedule them in your plan so then you know when they are. Kind of think about what you want to talk about. so that it makes it easier, and go ahead and do them. If you choose not to do one day, it does not matter. Okay, it's not going to make or break your business. The other thing is, unless you've like announced that you're going live and people are actually waiting for you to, no one knows that you are planning to. So it does not matter. It does not matter. This is your plan. You can also change this at any time. Okay. And if you're not posting it online, what you're doing, nobody knows. So you don't have to like get hard on yourself because, oh my God, I didn't go live, 3 times this week when I put it on my calendar and thought that I would. Doesn't matter. It, it might have been, they might have been really good. They might have gone really well. It is not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to absolutely make or break your business. And nobody else knew about it anyways. So, like, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Now, another thing that I would suggest, especially because, well, I kind of suggest this for all of the time, but it depends on you too. I do enjoy doing my content ahead of time. So then it's ready to go. I know what I'm posting. I do schedule it. I schedule it in later. I really like later as a scheduler. Um, I used Planoly for a bit and I do not anymore. You can message me for details on that. But anyways, I much prefer later as a scheduler, and you can schedule reels in it as well. People always ask that. Yes, you can schedule reels. There's multiple platforms in there as well. So you can do like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, I think Twitter. I do nothing on Twitter. I've never had a Twitter account, but it's in there. So you can have like multiple platforms too that you can post across, which is really nice. So I like to get it ready ahead of time, and I put all of my content in Asana. So it is done. My whatever is going on, like the post or the reel is in, my caption's in. All I need to do is either cut and paste the caption onto the reel unless it's scheduled. And even like with making the graphics, all I have to do is cut and paste what I've wrote into Canva for my graphics. It makes everything just a million times faster. It really, really speeds up the process. And it also serves as a content bank so you can go back and repurpose these things so much easier. I repurpose into emails, into blogs, all kinds of things. And it makes that process so much easier. And you can totally do this because not everyone sees your content. You can put it all over everything. For myself, you may notice. You might notice if you follow me on everything, you probably notice, but I will post the same things on Instagram, on TikTok, on my blog, and on my email. And then I also do Pinterest as well. So I have pins going that are shooting people back to the podcast, YouTube, and my blog. So I have all of those things, but it's all repurposed. That's how I'm able to do all of those platforms. Now, this is another thing. I don't suggest that you decide during a launch that it's time to add another platform. That's not the time. Don't do it during a launch. Usually, and I mean, we're usually always promoting something. So when the best time is, I can't really say that, but you really need to be consistent on one before you add any more. For myself, like I have a really good system in place. And like I said, I'm repurposing all of this. So it's fairly easy for me to post across all of these platforms. It's not a huge deal, but I do not suggest doing that until you've gotten consistent. And in terms of doing it, like if you're on Instagram and email, that's really what I would start with first, is doing those two, because I mean, I'm huge. I'm huge on email. I think that that is very beneficial, and it's so easy to repurpose to email. You can take any of your posts and copy paste and it's an email. You can do it that way, or you can use my like 3 tip method, whatever it is. I don't even know what I call it, but whatever. It's the 3 thing. And it's give them a tip. The first one is to give a tip or share something that you learned during the week. Just I say brief, but I am not ever brief in my emails. If you're on my email list, I'm not brief, but it's fine. It's just, it is what it is. And that's the other thing. You just have to like come to terms with some of this. And it's like, well, I always say that I'm going to get better. And I'm like, you know what? No, this is probably just what it is. So it doesn't matter. But the first one is a tip or something that you've learned. That's it. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be whatever length. The second one, I would share, like, you can share your best post from the week, even if you've repurposed another post for your tip. Yes, you can put both. You can totally do that. The way that I used to do this is I would actually take the graphic from the post and I would actually just link the actual link to the Instagram post. It's super easy, and just be like, you should go check this out for blah, 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 whatever, super easy. Then you share one other thing. You can share, if you have a podcast, share your latest episode. Or if you are featured on one, you can share that. Or if you're promoting something, you can share that. So those are your 3. That's it. Easy. Those are your regular emails, by the way. This is just getting consistent with regular email. Kind of went off tangent there. But for launches with your email, you can just copy and paste what you're posting on Instagram and use the same thing. It's fine. People need to hear things multiple times. I actually saw a post, might have been today or it was yesterday, where someone was saying that people don't need to see things multiple times, and I will always disagree. People do. People absolutely do, because we are way too busy and we are way too bombarded with so many things online. There is just like, there's multiple things always coming in. We're distracted, like so many things. So I feel like, yeah, no, you do need to see things multiple times. And it's totally fine if you are posting the same things on your Instagram and in your emails. Totally fine. Okay, so those are the 2 that I would start with. And then once you get consistent with that, I would think about adding more. Now, in terms of emails, how many should you send out during your launch? This really varies. It's totally up to you. And I mean, I've done this different ways. Sometimes I will send one like every couple days. Sometimes I will just mention it in my regular weekly email. Sometimes I'll send more. For this 6-week intensive, I sent, the whole launch mini series in emails. And it's really up to you. I feel like the first time, or, when you're trying to find what works, It's trial and error, really. And when you find something that does work well, then you know this is something that you want to continue. So the first time that you're doing it, see what works. You know, send one every 3 days. Give that a try, see what happens, and look at, things to look at are your engagement rate. So your opens, how, like, is that decreasing? Is it increasing? Like, what's going on there? If it's really falling, maybe that's too many emails for your email list, or you're just, maybe your subject line isn't interesting enough. I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into that as to why it could be decreasing, but there's different things that you can look at that point. But it's just, give it a try the first time, look at the data, and then you can move forward. And we'll be talking about more of this in the sixth part of this, which is the last part. And that's going to be looking at all of the data and how do you put this on repeat. But for content today, going back to this, that's really what I want you to consider is like the main point, really, really just saying whatever the fuck you want to say. Like that's it. Because I just feel like so many people are holding themselves back because they feel like they should say certain things. And that's the only way that you're going to get a result. And it's not. It's really not. And it's, we're told so much online. Like there's so much noise online and there's so much marketing that tells you it has to be this certain way, but it doesn't. It never has to be a certain way. The best results are going to come from finding what works for you. Period. That's it. That's how they're going to come. So say what you want to say, tell people what you want to tell them about your offer, and that's what really matters. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this one today. I would love to hear about it. And if you are on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.